Hello everybody and welcome to part 7 of my God King Boudicca series. We have finished up with Germany, so Berlin is ours. It's actually not that bad of a city, lots of potentials. We gotta clean it up because Pac-Man got loose. But we need to have a large State of the Union address. I will try to keep this as brief as possible. There's three main topics I want to hit. First is the major unhappiness. It's very temporary. We're burning Munich to the ground. We have a circus being built, and we have gold, cocoa, and citrus that are about to be connected in the near future, so very, very temporary. The second thing to talk about is normal Liberty gameplay versus this particular game. I probably have mentioned earlier in the series that the goal was to hit medieval era by way of metal casting, because early workshops are a good thing, and by getting into the medieval era we could open up commerce. However, you guys, awesome people that you are, had pointed out that there's a Reformation belief that basically turns any faith-bought building into a great work, essentially. So it provides tourism. So what this would mean is that we would want to go with the piety tree next, and not only the piety tree, but opener 1, 2, 3, 4 filler policies. But I think it's totally going to be worth it simply because playing Liberty games, I usually have a hard time. Like the opening is kind of easy for me, but it's how to parlay what you accomplish in the early game into a victory that can be challenging, and I didn't know about that Reformation belief. So this gives us a very attainable win condition, which is nice, because then if we ramp up our faith gain, which go in the piety tree will most certainly do, we'll have so many buildings bought that we might be dropping fresh cities just to have a place to buy more buildings in for the additional tourism. So, for that reason, rather than going currency and then into workshops, I think we really should do civil service. As well as philosophy, we're going to want the temples and National College eventually. Maybe temples wait until after we got marketplace or markets up, and the policy that helps us build them twice as quick. But we'll have to see how that goes as far as the timing. But obviously, having pikemen as opposed to Pictish warriors would be very great, because the third thing I want to address is where to go from here. We actually have a sizable standing army. We've got 6 melee with 2 more on the way and 6 ranged. That's a decent sized army, and what would we do? Just plug all the dark areas around our borders to watch for barbarians and sit back and play SimCity? It's certainly an option. I mean, we do have a good start when you factor in the settler that's about to come out and settling a city down here. It's a late game, but we're going to buy the granary to grow real quick, and since we're going civil service, these freshwater hills will be nice tiles pretty early on, give or take. But that's what got me thinking, and I was looking at this off camera. We already knew before the war against Germany began that Denmark had the superior army. We have closed that gap a good amount, so good on us. However, the other thing we have to keep in mind, and before I leave the military, I just wanted to point out that I think it's Carthage. Look at that, they're actually in second place for military, which is pretty incredible when you consider the fact that they only have these 2 cities, and they're kind of like nowhere near anybody else. I mean, Portugal's approaching them, so maybe they get upset and go that way. I don't know. But that got me also looking at science, and here's where things really get to be a problem. If you look where we got our great scientist academy, we surged ahead, which is nice, but we're playing from behind, and Denmark's been on top for quite some time now. To make matters worse, their unique unit is essentially a longswordsman that appears half an era earlier. And then if you look at Denmark, they appear to be in a corner all by themselves with no one around them except for us. So eventually, they have that big superior army. They get the berserkers out. What are they going to do? They're going to want to take over our lands. And yeah, we got an okay defensive army, good lands, like I think we could hold them. But why not instead bring the war to them? Actively suppress their science game by taking cities away from them. And that got me looking at Cologne, okay? Keep in mind, all of our units will have altitude training thanks to Kilimanjaro, so hills are not a problem. But even if that wasn't the case, I mean, there's a good amount of flat land here. We could siege the city from over here. But the fact that there is all these hills here and we have altitude training, we could do a two-front war, which would actually be really good, I think, because if you look at Copenhagen, with these forests here, assailing it from here is going to be a problem. But there is this bottleneck here through the mountains with hills that we could travel through relatively easily. So my thought is, what if we attacked Cologne on a two-front war? Again, we're talking 6 and 6 here. So like split up the ranged 3 and 3 on either side, and then have the bulk of the melee here. So like 4 down here, 2 up here. Because the way their lands are shaped, if we started attacking them, their units would probably start funneling down here to be able to represent. Even if it meant going through the city to come up here, they're still going to be funneling in down here. So we'll basically have a big brawl down here, soften up the city. And when this group down here is pretty much, got everything under control, these guys could sneak up, start coming in here, and by the time his army's whittled down, we just basically do a two-front push and take over Copenhagen. I think it'd be an uphill battle, especially since we have no idea of knowing when berserkers would come online, but it would definitely make for exciting TV, right? This city's making a swordsman, the city's making a swordsman, so we have people to backfill, and most of our people are along the front line. So I think that's the course of action at this point. And then, of course, hopefully, since we are going straight to civil service, hopefully we have Cologne by the time that happens, so we can upgrade to pikemen, which will make our final push that much more effective. So thank you for your patience sitting through that intro. Let's go ahead and pass the turn and see. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Wow. Let's look at that. Okay, he thinks we're building cities too aggressively, but because we went against a common foe, he wants to work together. Well, that's interesting, right? Because he could be a backstabber at times. Or alternatively, knowing that if he doesn't backstab, he's going to cool his jets and we could just sit back and actively develop our empire. Sure is tempting. Oh, and then of course I forgot to mention the downside to taking the war to him is that if you look at what people think of us, they're already, developing concerns about our warmongering. And if we were to attack another civ, like right off the back of the last war, and then of course take a capital, that would be a problem as well. I think we should still stick to the plan. I guess maybe I'm locked in. You guys can let me know if you think that's a mistake, if I should have just played peacefully to make nice with everybody. It could be a problem because if everybody starts hating us, then the degree to which they give us trades or gold and stuff like that would be diminished, and that could be a problem. So when I was looking at it off camera, we've got these two composite bowmen here that already have altitude training. They don't need to come down here to pick it up. So what we can do with these guys is just bring them over with the intention of crossing the river. They could be the scouts here. We are already going to be pushing units down here to make sure there's no barbarians while we prepare to settle our last city. Like such. We'll do that. Can't do it with him yet. He's got to get his altitude training, so let's go ahead and do that. This guy now has it, of course. And he's the one that's doing the dance over here. Of course, when we come back up, we might just come over here. It depends on the timing of things. Oh yeah, and we got a missionary that we purchased, so I don't want to forget that with the roads. He goes zoom zoom. That's really good. Alright, so as for everybody else, let's see here. These two here are fully healed, so we'll go ahead and start moving them towards Kilimanjaro. The ones that aren't, we will just go ahead and heal up. He doesn't need too much healing, but, since if you look at the geography down here, if everybody's coming from the north, we basically have these two tiles. So we really only can send them down in pairs. So we got this pair here, and then next turn he'll come up, and then he can join or somebody, I don't know. But sending him off right now would be a mistake. He's going to the deer tile to develop that. You know what? Since we are bringing the war and we are already counting our chickens, let's go ahead and have him start heading over that way too. When this guy pops out, he can be the eyes over here, and then this one can be the eyes over here, because once we have a city here, there will be a little bit of darkness here, and both these patches are pretty near our capital and in our back lines. Like everywhere else, there's, you know, shared borders, whether it be city-state, other civs. So we don't necessarily need to do that. Now, over here, if you'll recall, there was a barbarian here and a camp here, and then, of course, this one here. So we cannot count on this bombard clearing up the camp and us snagging it right away. So we might as well keep scouting while it looks like Germany's going to hold the line here. Yeah, we can see here, as long as he keeps just staying armored up and he keeps shooting or whatever, we could just zoom past. And who knows, this looks like it could be the end of the line, so maybe we come back down, clear that camp, or just, you know, go about our day. And then, of course, he's damaged, so at some point we're going to need to heal him up. Here we're at Tundra Coast. Oh, it was starting to look like it was the end of the line. Does not look to be the case, so let's do... I was kind of hoping to get eyes on the city tile, but it's looking, based on the border shape, like this might be the city tile, which is unfortunate, because with the hill there, we're not going to get eyes on. This is pretty narrow, though. Maybe we can get to the other side. It's looking like there might be another city up here, because I don't think one city would cause all this. How many cities does he have? 4. Okay, so we'll call it 1, 2, 3, and then maybe 4. He started Liberty, but he didn't complete it, so there's that. Oh yeah, worker. I was thinking he could come down here, get started on the citrus, and then this one here that was going to do the citrus, he can basically follow the settler down here, get started on some freshwater farms. I would have done that anyways, but the fact that we're going civil service first means I think we do need to favor that a bit. And as far as the other workers, we'll have him hop up here to... Oh, there's a road stem there. Oh, that's so good. Okay, that means we can do this now, and next turn finish the gold, and that'll patch our happiness right up. That is awesome. I did not realize we had a road stem there. And then, of course, this one's going to get the iron online, so we can maybe make a little money. Probably have him then develop the cocoa. We'll have this one rip up that road tile, jump down here and start the roads from Berlin to Nantes. Yeah. Okay. Just taking a look at everything. Oh yeah, we want to tell him to sit tight. Okie dokie. So basically the name of the game here is we're going to get altitude training on everybody, and we're going to encroach Denmark without setting them off, because if we get too close, we'll get that prompt, what are your units doing here? And if we lie, then we're going to get a big diplomatic penalty, and if we tell the truth, he's going to get the initiative.
Better is bred with a happy...
Okay, and I just saw orange on a city-state, so let's go address that first. Okay, where's this? Interesting. Oh, because our units are healing up? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I wonder if it was like that last turn and I missed it, or if it's because our units are healing up. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This one wouldn't have influenced it, but these ones would have. Interesting. I do think we had the camera up like this, so I probably would have noticed. Okay, so this is a fork in the road also. We have... they want Taoism, and that's actually where we're sending our missionary as we speak. To spread right here, and then probably somewhere in Portugal, because they got a lot of cities. In fact, yeah. But they're militaristic, right? They give longbowmen, which is nice, but we don't have the tech for it yet. And if we did this one quest, we would be friends. So we don't even know if they gift us a unit in that time. We are sending all our units away from our homeland for the most part, so a free unit would certainly be welcomed. But it's not even a guarantee. Meanwhile, let's see, only Germany is protecting them, and it would be 110 gold. What I was going to say is, meanwhile, we already have plans for the city we're going to drop down here. We want to buy the granary the turn it comes up, and then we're going to build the library here a little bit earlier than we were everywhere else. just because of all the food we're going to have. This will be a 3 food tile, this is a 3 food tile, it's going to be a 3 food tile. So we can skip the granary, and we would skip the granary anyways, just in the interest of the National College. But the point being is that we're going to want to buy the library here as well. Buying the granary will help this get to 4-pop real quick, especially with the freshwater farms and civil service coming online. But that's what I was going to say, like the next, what is that, 740 gold is spoken for, and we're still going to need gold to upgrade to pikemen. So under the circumstances, I do think it is worthwhile to ask for tribute rather than being friends on the hope that maybe we get a unit gifted to us. So let's see here. Edinburgh demands spices. The very turn we learn lose our spices and can get them right back. That's very convenient. Let's see here. Also, cotton came back. Didn't we have a city-state that wanted that? Yes, we do. So we're going to be getting more food in the capital, and we love the King Day. So let's see, 10 turns to grow. We'll see what it says next turn. That might be a little significant. Meanwhile, we also have horses to sell. She only has straight-up gold. He does have GPT, but he's got concerns about our warmongering. Alright, so let's go 2 and 3. Because that's basically as good a deal as we would have gotten from Portugal, except for we get to offload both right now. And if we had done 1 and 1, we would have gotten less. Okay, so let's go to drama and poetry. I don't know how soon we'll be getting the amphitheaters up, but we want to, because we want to be able to slam home all those extra policies. And then as far as build queue, let's see. Alright. That's our last settler, so let's go ahead and start getting the capital up to speed. Library first, because we're already at 6 pop there. Circus is done here. Let's go ahead and get into a market. We need to get those up. Alright, farms finished there. It reflects just like that. Finish the iron, and there's the gold. Although our happiness didn't go up, I'm assuming that's a graphical glitch. I have noticed there are times where enhanced user interface will not, there we go, actively upgrade that. You gotta do something, go into a menu or whatever. But you can see we got the happiness rolling now, so, and then Munich's gonna burn down next turn. So happiness is no longer a problem, which is great. Okay, so getting to the unit movement, these guys are crossing the river. Let's go ahead and do that. These guys are moving towards Kilimanjaro. He's just generally trying to move down here. This is going to be the big skirmishing. These units are basically going to be softening up the city and then sneaking off. So I think the bulk of the action is going to be down here, or at least we want it to be that way. So let's just prepare accordingly. Get some eyes over here. Advance him up there, him down here. So what I'll do is I'll just have this guy heal in place for a turn. Let's not move him forward until backup has arrived, so to speak. Alright, we'll get the thingy, the deer. Let's see, we want a radar here because it's a dark tile. It's free to go, so we're going to do something like that. Nantes is going to be growing. This is a toughie because it's going to be growing to 4. We would want to have a freshwater farm up here. This stem was the most important part of this road, and we've finished it. We could proceed to finish the rest of the road. However, it's a little too soon for the road to Douglas. And I would say, oh yeah, we're about to war with Denmark, but just about all of our units are already here. You know what I mean? Like, the road wouldn't help them in time. So, I think maybe we should have this worker come up here, do that freshwater farm, and then come down and finish the road. We definitely got to get out of the way of the settle. But we did get that little stem so we could zip through this little forest tile. That'll save our settler a turn at the very least. And we do have that one swordsman that's coming over. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There we go. There's a city tile. Okay, so let's count this off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright. So they started Liberty, but they didn't commit, and look at that, 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got a very tight kingdom, so I would not want to have to siege that area. A lot of cities coming together. Alright, and we are able to squeak by. And we meet another city-state. Nice. And these are all hills, so 1, 2, 3, 4. That way we're on their borders without trespassing. And, let's see, they want, oh, I just assumed it was this camp here. That's why you always check, you never know. So there might even be more land up here, although this is tundra, so I can't imagine it being much more. But with this being a hill, I mean, we can take a peek, I guess. It's not going to cost too much. We know pretty much everything else going in the area. Might come back to this, might just continue on. I don't know how much we can count on that. Alright, so he's going to start heading down there. And that's everybody for this turn. Is that all the workers? And of course, we're not even going to bother shopping with Germany because we put more of a premium on iron. And there's no way he would give us even a 1-for-1. So, oh yeah, because the tribute. That's okay. We just got to tell him off. We have to say no here because we need it coming back for but we can re-examine once it comes back and maybe do it then. Although, according to Enhanced User Interface, nobody wants that cotton. Let's see. Nantes demands silk. Edinburgh loves the king and cotton connected for So let's take a look. 4. It said 10 last turn. It's down to 4. So that's awesome, and that's why you want the love the king days and satisfying the maritime. All right, she wants more iron, and she's our friend, so we'll be able to get good enough value for it. Let's go ahead and chop this down, get that the library up a little quicker. Alright, what else we got going on? We got this farm getting finished there. 3 food, nice. Okay. So, settler's coming over. And he is 2. Because we need to get him altitude training. So we'll have this guy come over here for spying purposes. We'll have that guy come down there. Okay, he's coming down here. And these two need to get their altitude training. So we'll go like this. We'll lead with the melee because we want to get 2 melee over here. In fact, you know what? One of them should be a swordsman. So we'll have this swordsman get his Kilimanjaro here. He's coming down. So he'll get his Kilimanjaro here. He'll get his Kilimanjaro here. And if we moved him out, he would be in the traffic jam. So let's just heal him up one more turn. This guy, he's going to take 3 turns to get there, so he's not going to be part of the traffic jam. He's healed well enough. Missionary, look at that. Takes advantage of the stem. Gets a little further across the river earlier. Nice. So now we should be able to rip that up without tripping over ourselves any further. Alright, so he's going to come and maybe help. He's going to come down here, get some eyes. Let's see, we'll have him come through here, get some eyes. And we'll have him come here, get some eyes. Okay. No barbarians here, which is nice. We kind of want to pull a little bit away from him. We also don't want these guys getting too close. We'll start deer there. Let's see. We're here at the ice, or snow. Alright, so this is pretty much end of the line, the hills and range. You know, what more could we ask for? We're going to go check on that camp. No. And this is why you always try to zoom ahead, because if there's something here, it'll let you land on there, even though you can't manually. And we can see 2, 3. We're outside borders. Looks like the end of the line, but we could do a little dance next turn to verify that. It seems pretty clear, though. Alright. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. We want to tell him off. I almost forgot about that part. Okay. Best practices, if you're, you know, we're not in the early game so much anymore, so wars are not going to be as forgiven. So you want to soften the diplomatic blow first by telling them off, and then by denouncing them, and then on the next turn you can declare war. So that looked, based on where my great general is, it looked like it's probably the last opportunity we would have had to tell him off and then denounce him and then declare war. So now we'll go ahead and denounce him.
Let's go.
because it's the next turn. We denounced on 92. I don't want to forget. Sometimes these turns take so long that I forget which is which and I overlap them, so gotta make notice. Okay, swordsman's done down here. We'll get the market, so let's have him come out, start uncovering some of this darkness that's been neglected for a brief period of time. We'll do our little dance there. Let's see, workers are fine. We have another city-state that is orange. That is Antwerp, and they want a trade route and their happiness. And we can give them a trade route. We're about to establish a city down here, so at which point it should be pretty safe to do, especially with a unit keeping eyes down here. Truro should be able to reach them, and since Truro's much more developed, it'll probably be richer, but we can double check when it comes time. We only have the one caravan, and it's 17 turns out yet, so that's quite a ways away. But nevertheless, they are happiness. They have access to furs, which we can't get anywhere else, so you know, who knows what else they'll ask us to do. But I think not tributing them would be the answer. Just as a goof, we can check who's it'd still be 110. Nobody's protecting them. So we could take that money now. And we're doing fine on happiness. But the more happy... Because the thing you got to remember, too, is like Berlin, yeah, they're building a library right now, but there's going to come a point when they build stuff we don't want. And you can see here and here that we're only getting 75%. Oh yeah, it even says right there, modifier for puppet money minus 25%. So there probably will come a time that we annex this once we have civil service and these river farms, plains river farms repaired. So yeah, just because we're doing good on happiness now doesn't mean we shouldn't prepare for the future. This would be a good one to have. Not like Almaty where, yeah, they'd be nice to have, but you know, it's not the end of the world. They do have gems though, I didn't notice that. Okay, so we have denounced them. Let's start getting everybody into position here. If we step this guy here, we can't be seen. So let's go ahead and back this guy up here. Now these guys are in a position they can't be seen. This guy, we'll have him come here. He can be seen, but he's over the river, and he's only seen because of the unit standing there, so I think that's good enough. This guy's going to be crossing the river next turn. These guys are coming to get Kilimanjaro right now. He's coming down to do the citrus. He's going to get his Kilimanjaro next turn, as will this guy. Alright, so far so good. So he's coming down to settle the city. We want a worker coming in right behind him. So let's just step up and put a turn in on a road. We know we're going to be building a road to Douglas eventually. We're just dealing with this first. So now there's a tile pre-built there. And then he can jump here when he leaves. So that seems good. We'll have this guy... Oh, there's a catapult down here. Interesting. Well, since the action's up here, I'm thinking about bringing him up here. But if there's a catapult down here that we could mess with first, it might be worthwhile to bring him over here. I don't know. Let's do this. Get some eyes down here. We can be seen by units, but not the city tiles, so maybe that's good enough as far as that goes. We'll bring him here. Same thing. He can't even be seen by units at this point. Yeah, he can from here because this is wooded hill over hill, so I think he can see this tile. But that's okay, not by the city. So it becomes a question of what to do with these guys. Might as well just take this guy and heal him up a turn, since he's missing something. Because of the hills, we can go 1-2. That seems pretty good. We can reach this guy, but I think bringing this guy up here might be a little better. More versatile. We would miss out on the opportunity for this. These things are pretty weak against units anyways, so... Oh, you know what? They have limited visibility, so no, this guy cannot be seen. I forgot about that. But yeah, it just seems better coming through here, because this is where the action's going to be. This would be an outlier. If it works out, we'll take shots, but, you know, if not. Alright, so I think I've got everybody moved there. comfortably. 1, 2. We have one more movement point we'll do there. We're on a hill. We're overlooking a hill. Get some eyes in his territory. Because basically what we're going to be doing up here is we're going to be trying to scout the coast, but also his borders. And since it looks like it might be like a tug of war, we'll just go where the hills take us. You know, get the most out of our potential mobility. Okay, and that's everybody covered. Next turn is the turn that we would be going to war, and we're at the half-hour mark, so I think I'm going to end it here. I know we didn't cover a lot of turns, but that was an important meeting at the start of the episode. And I look forward to your comments. Let me know your thoughts on all of this. I hope you guys are enjoying, the fact that I take your tips under advisement. It's enjoyable for me knowing that some of you guys are just as good, if not better, at the game, or better at certain aspects, know things I don't. This is what I love about the comments section. People jump in and have conversations, help each other out, help me out, ask questions. It's great. You guys are awesome. Thank you for joining. I hope it's been enjoyable. Please leave a like and subscribe if you feel that I've earned it, and I will see you guys in the next part. Take care.